it type, just kind of laying down the law or whatever they want to say. I don't know what the actual word is, but you understand what I'm saying. They're kind of just throwing stuff out into the wind, seeing where it lands,
Yeah.
and then they really have not much intention on moving anywhere. It's kind of just to start up fire in the Twitter sphere or in the
Get you
Instagram
thinking.
posts and get you kind of out there. But then it also is to kind of open up the door because Kevin Durant and him have to be having conversations. I venture to say if Kyrie Irving is looking to leave and bounce after James Harden has just done so,
Yeah.
and you don't know what you're getting out of Simmons. If I'm KD, I am looking for the first door to exit if that's going to be the case. Listen, I can carry a load. I can hold it for a little while, but my body cannot hold 82 games of carrying this weight. And you've got salary cap issues. No matter who you bring in for whatever point, because you're going to have to do a sign and trade. You're going to have to do something that's still going to carry a load at least for a year minimum of some form of salary. So you're not going to be able to do anything significant, which is going to put you under a burden, and the stress and the weight of that Achilles gets real heavy.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it this year. They got swept in the first round.
Yeah.
Didn't have too much time playing together. The reports over the last couple of days is that, the Nets weren't really in on Kyrie Irving. And so there's kind of been this idea of if they can do a sign and trade, and maybe that's still out there. But the only team that's interested seemed to be the Lakers, and the Lakers don't have anything to give back other than AD, which they don't want to give up. So it looks like Irving.
They do have someone else, but
yeah, Russell Westbrook also.
And he's just opted in
today. But like I said, the Nets don't want that. They're not interested in that. Though I would have loved a reunion for Russell Westbrook and KD, and then have the Kyrie LeBron reunion there. Mostly would have loved it because I wouldn't have to worry about those teams making to the finals and all those individual players blocking my team from getting in the way. But I'm fascinated by how that situation does play out, because there was the report the other day too that the Nets would rather get rid of Durant and Kyrie than because that's what's in play. Basically, Durant's going to leave if Kyrie's not there.
Yeah.
But they'd rather go that route than deal with Kyrie for another year. Maybe something's changed in their mind. Maybe they're still looking for a sign and trade partner. But for right now, it looks like it's just the 1 year deal. They're going to try to get through it again with Kyrie and KD and then see where things go. But imagine having Kyrie, KD, and James Harden all on your roster, and then 2 years later you look and all you have is Ben Simmons.
After you've given up what you've given up
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. It's kind of crazy. But on top of that, man, a lot of stuff has happened and transpired in our absence. Me being at Andre Reed, Hall of Famer, went in 2014. Just a great guy, man. Great family. Really enjoyed the time out there. We're in Pennsylvania, kind of out in the Valley area.
Is that close to his
not too
hometown
far
or
from
something?
Allentown. Listen, I was inspired by Billy Joel to go out there. When I'm an MTV generation kid, so
Yeah.
everybody knows Allentown. Billy Joel. Steel Mill. But they don't have Steel Mill. They actually do Mack trucks out there. That's what I learned. I learned some
okay.
things. The Steel
Might
Mill
change
is
over
another
the years.
city, kind of. Yeah, it is a little bit down, but. Man, just beautiful course set in there in the valley, man. Just great views at night, peaceful, nice little breeze. Did have a little rain. I was a little worried that we're gonna get, peed on a little bit, but it didn't stay. It hit us in kind of little swaths of it, and it then bounced out by the afternoon. And I learned the game while I was out there. And I'm gonna actually have to play this anytime I do a scramble from now on. I'm taking a pair of cards out to the course. So I had a great group of guys, by the way, man. And they're like, hey, listen, you mind music? I'm like, no, man, I'm an MTV generation kid. I listen to everything, I pretty much can listen to everything except even a little bit of contemporary country. I like some old school country. You get back into Alabama and the likes of them. But Reba McEntire, just kind of that back end. But ultimately, they were playing, bro. If you looked at my group, there's no way you would think you would be hearing like Snoop Dogg come out and then, Eagles. I mean, it was the
just a
whole,
variety.
it was just a whole variety. So it was a great group, man. We laughed. So we played this game. It was poker. And the way you play the game is whatever hit you use, because it was a scramble. So like if you use your drive, you get a card. If you used your second shot, you get a card.
Okay.
If you hit it close, on the green, and they use that third shot on a par 4, you get a card. If you birdied and putted the birdie in, you get 2 cards, right? Ultimately, once you got the 5 cards, every time your shot was used, they give you a new card. You take it, you see if you want it and give it back, or take it and keep it in exchange. And by the end of the round, by the end of the 18, you then decide what your poker hand is going to be. So you're basically playing poker, your best 5 cards. So everybody put about $10 in, and just made
awesome. Yeah.
It made the scramble more interesting. You know what I mean? Because you wanted to focus on the shot. You wanted that card.
Yeah.
I ended up with a joker, which was a wild.
Okay, yeah, you can work with that.
And 3 kings.
Oh, so 4 of a kind.
I had a boat. I had a king high boat.
Oh yeah.
Going in, 3 kings and 2 10s going in, but the guy. I would have to say at least 5 holes before 18. I pulled out a king. So I had a 4 of a kind king strategy. And I switched it up. And then all of a sudden he comes out at the end. He's like, I've got 4 8s. I was like, God dang it. I've got 4 kings.
So it was fun, man. So did you win it?
I won the money.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I had a great time.
I'm surprised they kept the joker in there, because the only
they use them as wild.
I guess the idea I'm thinking though is, could you use the same card that somebody else is using? Like if somebody else has a flush with an ace of spades, could you take another ace of spades with your joker? Oh,
if that's what you wanted, it can be whatever it wants to be.
Yeah, that's what
you get 2 chances for whatever card you want it to be. So it was cool, man.
Yeah. That is cool. And how did you go?
Listen, I haven't honestly, and they were like, "Oh, you're cherry picking." I'm like, "No, man, I literally haven't played in probably 6 months." Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's good for you, because if you don't play, your bad habits, all your swing mechanics, you just kind of just go out. You be easy. You don't try to do too much.
Yeah.
You just swing.
You're not thinking about what you did wrong last time.
Yeah. And I actually shot an 83.
Oh yeah, that's
and the course was not easy.
Yeah,
shot an 83 on that course, 44 in the front, so I got hot on the back. Had at least five birdie putts in a day, just couldn't hit them. It was kind of tough because the greens they looked fast, but you had to stroke it, and they were coming up short in instances, or it was just right next to it, or I blew it like by because I was trying to make sure I get it to the hole. But I made my par putts, and I chipped my butt off. Like I normally struggle chipping, but I was chipping. Really? Yeah, I was chipping like crazy.
Yeah,
like I've been doing it forever.
Can you drive pretty well?
I sprayed a little bit. Not duck hooking and slicing.
Yeah,
but I was pretty consistent, and I was either just off the fairway or I was hitting into the open areas, making sure I stayed away from trouble, just so I made sure I got another shot, because I was chipping so well.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind being rough to the left if I was avoiding woods to the right or a sand trap over there. You know what I mean? So I had a good job of aiming those shots during that.
Well, that's always good to get a nice golf tournament in and win a little bit on the side as well there.
It's fun.
I was out at the College World Series this last couple of weeks. That's where I've been just helping out behind the scenes with TV there. And I just want to talk a little bit about it. Were you able to watch any of the College World Series?
I did watch some of it. I didn't get to watch the championship games, but I did get to read and dig into it a little bit, and it's quite intriguing what I came up with, but I'll let you finish yours.
Yeah, it's just ultimately I knew that usually when you go out there, you can just kind of pick your underdog that you kind of want to win in the tournament, and in kind of the city of Omaha just kind of gets behind them, because there's a lot of people locally that obviously go to the games and don't have a team, and they just kind of to blend in with all the people that are traveling will pick up a team. This year was difficult because it was basically 6 SEC teams. Well, 4 SEC teams
plus
two that
coming.
will be on their way in Oklahoma and Texas. And then 2 other groups that are hard to get to behind a little bit. Notre Dame, who is pretty much you either like them or you hate them, and so it's hard to bandwagon onto Notre Dame. And then Stanford, who's just kind of elitist and didn't bring a whole lot of fans, so there wasn't really much of a reason to get behind them either. Oh, they're just smarter than us, and they're going to make more money, so we all get frustrated with them. It's hard to cheer for them as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they, there wasn't a underdog or a feel good team of the tournament to necessarily go for. And it's but it kind of makes you wonder if the SEC, especially when they add Texas and Oklahoma, is starting to kind of take over baseball. They've got the last three national champions. Of course, it's always kind of felt like an elevated conference, and over the last 20 years or whatever, it's been there, but it hasn't been absolutely dominant. You worry because of what you've seen in football. If it's there, and it is, the money is now being put in there, and they're getting all the top prospects and all that. If the SEC can take as much of a grasp of baseball as they have in football.
Yeah, but what I found very interesting is we talked about this in your absence, but I felt interesting about the whole thing was the UCLA in 2010 dynamic, where UCLA and the softball team and the baseball team were both in the finals, where UCLA women actually won and the men came up short. Then in 2011, Florida, duplicated the same thing 1 year later, and both teams lost in that one. And then we find that in 2022, the same thing has come to play. Only 3 times it's happened.
Huh.
But in that, you have OU women winning and OU men hot and looking like they're poised to get it done. And they had a question mark, and ultimately they came up short. They ran into a buzzsaw in game 1. One of the first times this happened in quite a while, where they had back-to-back home runs. I think since I want to say the LSU.
Yeah, it was like late 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s, right? Like 98 or something like that. And so you had that jumping off and just ran into a buzzsaw, and because so you have a chance of redemption, and the pitching was getting it done, only giving up 25 runs in it. But I think the intriguing story for me was the fact that they came into it like upside down. You know what I'm saying? Like their record was horrid coming into it. I mean, they were 7-14 start in the SEC, and then they're looking for a miracle, basically at large. They don't win it, the SEC tournament. They're looking for it. And we got a great record. I mean, they were rolling, just got off to a terrible start in the SEC and find themselves in it, where everybody was thinking Tennessee was going to roll through it.
Didn't even get
and then they thought Stanford was just going to, be the next up, and I had that question. And here they go, man. They come back and they just have a complete turnaround, and they're ending up in the pile for the championship game. So the question for me was, and I'm gonna throw it to you: is baseball right now looking like in the NIL basically sphere, the NIL sphere? Is it looking like baseball has the most parity of all the sports at this point? I mean, we're going to see in football. I mean, we're going to see in the fall sports how the NIL is going to, come into play. Is the USC's going to be that? Will the Nebraska, will the Texas A&M, pan out based on what they did? Will they, be able to amass any type of, muscle against Alabama? Is Alabama going to come up short because they don't have? I mean, let's be real. They're good. And they're always going to be pretty good for at least a period. Are they going to come up short because they just don't have the money? They don't have the same type of money that most of these other NIL schools are going to have. And is it going to work now, or is it still going to be on a 2-year kind of swab? So those are the things I'm thinking about. And I wanted to throw it to you. Do you think baseball is right now? And to the Sauter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. Do you right now, as you look at the landscape, do you look at it from a standpoint of, is baseball right now looking like it has the most parity? I mean, we've been hearing that Nick Saban's been talking about wanting more parity in the football game. I don't think the NIL is going to, afford that mission. But I think that right now, to me, it looks like baseball is on track to have the most parity.
Yeah, and I think baseball has had. I mean,
but there's dominance in the SEC, though.
Right.
Let's just say that.
And that's where the NIL I think that's going to change it a little bit, is that the SEC is going to continue to get stronger. I just hope that we don't see too many fields like this year where it's just so dominated by the SEC. And like you said, without the best SEC team even there in Tennessee, who was number one all year long. So I think that will strengthen and hurt the parity of the big of baseball altogether. But I think as of right now, you'd have to say yes. Mississippi State, both the last two winners haven't won titles before. That you're not seeing that. In basketball, sometimes it's a different look, but it's always Kansas or Kentucky or Duke or North Carolina or Villanova. I mean, it's always the same teams. And then Gonzaga's close, so you got to got those teams too. But and then in football, we know it's the same six teams, with Ohio State and Alabama and Clemson and so on and so forth. So it's absolutely baseball's got the most parity, and the game's just weird. I mean, this is the argument I always have to a degree is, and why I want the college football playoff. I'm going off a little bit here. No, to stay how it is.
Stay where it is.
Is that the more that you see things like this happen where Ole Miss wins Ole Miss doesn't win the SEC tournament, but they're the national champion. Same thing happened in football. Georgia didn't win the SEC, but they're the national champion.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense. It makes me feel less, ultimately you can say, well, it's about winning time in the final tournament and all that stuff. And maybe there's not a better way to do it, but it just makes me feel like tournaments are a little bit more random, and maybe we should come up. That's why I like college football, kind of playing the season out, making it the whole thing somewhat of a tournament, and then having limited teams in at the end. Because I think there should be something a little bit more to that, because that's what I argue against March Madness is it's so fun. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of random on who wins and who your national champion is. Just that whoever wins the tournament. It feels like the same way with college baseball to a degree, and football, even though they've only expanded to 4. You're already seeing that we're twice now. You've had a team not win their own conference and win the national championship. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's coming down to ultimately, and we're going to come to a caller, but it's coming down ultimately to getting hot at the right time. And that's what it boils down when you're dealing with that type of situation. We have Jim on the Honda Lincoln Hotline. Jim. I'm sorry. On the Honda Lincoln Hotline. Yeah. Jim, what's up?
Hey, Strickenbach. This is Jim from Bellevue. And just wanted to comment. I agree with you, what you guys said, because of the way things are distributed with major D1 sports. I think baseball has a little bit more parity overall than, say, football, which is dominated by a few, and even basketball. So I think you're right on target with that. And I just hope Nebraska can come back this next year and get to a regional and show what they can do, because I think they got some good recruiting.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Jim. And we thanks for anybody to call in here on the Honda Lincoln Hotline 402-464-5685. It does make you feel like it's a less of an uphill battle, looking at it from Nebraska's perspective. But then again, the Big Ten's perspective, that's kind of the battle altogether, is to try to get the Big Ten into any sort of atmosphere, not to even to compete with the SEC, because that's almost like a dream right now, but just to get be more than the 2-bid league that they were this year, and usually just not getting the respect like Nebraska didn't have the previous year, where they were the champions and just get thrown in in the Arkansas regional.
Right.
But it is what it is. I mean, the level of Big Ten baseball isn't there.
Yeah, it's just not there yet, and that's okay. But I did, and thank you guys for tapping in. Even if you tapped in on the Sauter Heyman text line, we'll probably come back and mention, some of those on the comeback. I mean, we're gonna have to take a break, but ultimately, I think also we should have a discussion on, and I'm gonna throw this out to the Sauter Heyman text line as well. Does the Big Ten in football, as you look up and down the scale, other than Ohio State, is there anybody capable of mounting a fight in the college football championship series? I just want to throw that out there. If you have an answer for me, throw it out to us, because I'd love to discuss and debate it, and maybe even have a call about it on the Honda Lincoln Hotline. But we got to take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll discuss more, talking about the top 10 ranked Nebraska quarterbacks that we're going to face this upcoming season. We'll discuss that when we get back from On the Block on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Football season will be here before you know it, and you can get ahead of everyone else with the first annual Evening with the Huskers event at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill. Join 93.7 The Ticket and Husker Online's Sean Callahan for an evening with current Nebraska football players and surprise guests as they preview the season ahead. Enjoy cocktail hour and a delicious Wagyu steak dinner, as well as an open bar for the duration of the event, all for just $199 per person. Click the logo for the event at theticketfm.com to sign up. Don't delay, this will fill up fast. Don't miss your chance to meet and greet with Husker football players at Tanner's Bar and Grill and Tavern 180 in Lincoln at 30th and Yankee Hill. Sign up today at theticketfm.com using the Evening with the Huskers banner. It's an evening with the Huskers to preview the 2022 Nebraska football season at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Presented by Husker Online and 93.7 The Ticket.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that. Options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Empire Fence and Netting in Waverly is now hiring for several positions. They're looking for a fence installer for both commercial and residential, for local projects, and ones that require travel. They also have openings for operators, dirt work, welding positions, and applicants with CDLs are very desirable. If you're looking for a locally operated business that provides excellent work for customers and great benefits and care for its employees, email info@empire-fence.com or give them a call at 402-682-7658. Empire Fence and Netting.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
The 2022 Nebraska football season is right around the corner, and we need you in Memorial Stadium this fall. A customizable Husker football 3-game mini plan is on sale now for only $180. To purchase your 2022 Husker football 3-game mini plan today, or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111. Go Big Red.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Sunny skies and warm temps expected here for our Tuesday, topping out near 88. Southwest winds will be a little breezy at 15 to 20. Overnight, mainly clear with the low dropping down to 66. Hot and windy tomorrow. South winds gusting over 30 with an afternoon high of 94. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at gainatrucking.com.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the block at full strength. Myself, Jake Bachman, here with Eric Strickland, the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet. And here around the corner, we'll have Shootout with Strick, your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. But before that, let's talk some Big Ten football. And we got a few different topics to go around. First of all, Strick threw out there, if there's a team other than Ohio State that you think could compete in the Big Ten, from the Big Ten, I should say, in the college football playoffs. Let us know your thoughts there on the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. We've seen in the past it hasn't gone pretty when teams outside of Ohio State have made it to that tournament. Of course, with Michigan this past year not really being too competitive with Georgia, and Michigan State not scoring a point when they made it a few years back now. So I don't know. I think it's a good story. I think it's it's kind of, whatever team it is going to have to be kind of gritty more so than rely on all out athleticism that the Ohio States and the Alabamas and the Georgias of the world can. And so I think that there might be a ceiling to that. I don't necessarily see, especially this year, a team that can do that. Ohio State, for what it's worth, is absolutely loaded once again. Might have the two top tackles in the Big Ten, are pretty close to it. Peter Skronsky of Northwestern, actually one of the really best tackles in the Big Ten, but they've got two really good ones to protect C.J. Stroud and obviously Travion Henderson, their running back, wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be there. Not Marvin Harrison Jr. No, I'm blanking on his name. Son of a weapon there. But in any case, they're pretty loaded.
Yeah.
And there's just, I was just kind of breaking down the Big Ten while I was away and kind of reading more into it and just being like, man, the amount of excitement that anybody else would be if they had that offense. Because I mean, that's what it is. It's probably the top offense in the nation. And remember, Kevin Wilson, the former Indiana coach, is the offensive coordinator over there at Ohio State. I wonder if they have another good year. And of course, last year was seen as a failure because they lost 2 games. But if the offense has another good year, if he'd get another shot at it. So that's something to ponder. Also, we want to do the top quarterbacks that Nebraska is going to play this upcoming year.
I mean, we already know who number 1 is, so
yeah.
Really, there's not even like.
Well, we're gonna go for the bottom,
yeah.
and then surprise you at number 1. But you're right. I mean, I think there's an argument for number 1.
You really do.
I really do.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
But obviously, Sam McEwen wrote a pretty good article about this from the Omaha World Herald. If you want to check that out, just wanted to shout him out for kind of giving us the idea here. I think you start outside of conference play if you're doing this. Kyle Van Treese would probably be. I don't know. That would be given some love to Tommy Schuster. I think you probably put Tommy Schuster of North Dakota last.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's the different level of play. Not to say that we haven't seen FCS
but
quarterbacks
it's not
come out and play.
You're still just talking about quarterback, though. You're not the surrounding aspects of them, just as a quarterback, right?
But he hasn't blown anybody away either. Last year, in 9 games, he threw, or excuse me, I think he played all year. But 22,393 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. They played a lot of close games against good opponents for the FCS level. And actually,
he was efficient
when he played up. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have him ranked higher?
Yeah, I mean, I had him ahead of Tommy DeVito. I think Tommy DeVito now for me is probably the one that has the least amount of experience on a bad team, with the weapons are kind of questionable to me, and so I would rank him last.
That's interesting. Even over an FCS quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen FCS quarterbacks do well,
yeah.
Get drafted, stuff like that. But I'd probably start there. My number 11 is Kyle Van Treese of Georgia Southern. Of course, he played for Buffalo last year against the Huskers, was 27 of 50 for 224 yards and a interception in the 28-3 loss to Nebraska. So you kind of already got an idea of what he's going to look like. He finished the season with 1,861 passing yards in 10 games, 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Missed the final 2 games with a right arm injury and was part of a pretty large exodus from the Buffalo program after the year.
Well, I have actually John Doerr.
Okay.
But for me, the reason I have him, ahead of Van Treese is just because Doerr, to me, I'm just not comfortable, because for me, Van Treese has seen Nebraska, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's seen the speed. He understands what he's going to be facing. Yes, he had a bad day against them, but ultimately he knows and is familiar with them. And that's why I kind of had him up there. I'm having trouble just throwing Doerr ahead of him right now. And I think Doerr doesn't have weapons. He only threw for 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's upside down. He didn't even get to 1,000 yards last year. So I'm a little suspect on him. That's why I kind of had him behind Van Treese.
That's fair enough. I respect my Big Ten West quarterbacks in the way that nobody else probably should. But that's why I've got these guys rated a little bit lower. At number 10, I have Ryan Helinski from Northwestern. He actually could become the first starting quarterback that Scott Frost has beaten twice at Nebraska.
So you think Nor Vedral comes up short in that fight?
Against Gavin Wimsatt? Ryan Helinski is from Northwestern.
Oh, that Northwestern.
Yeah, Northwestern.
Yeah, I'm tripping.
Yeah. He split starting duties last year with Andrew Marty, who's now moved on. He was a senior last year, and Hunter Johnson also moved on. But anyways, Helinski finished with 978 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions on the season. Hasn't lived up to that 2019 debut that he had with South Carolina, where he once threw for 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and around 2,400 yards with the Gamecocks. Hasn't been able to do that at Northwestern. For what it's worth, Brennan Sullivan, kind of a dual threat quarterback there. He could actually be starting once we get to Ireland, and they'll probably have a little quarterback duel to leading up to that game. He didn't really play last year, so we'll kind of see. But in any case, Helinski last year against Nebraska, 25 of 39, 256 yards and a touchdown in the 56-7 loss to Nebraska.
Well, for me, I said Tommy DeVito, John Doerr, Kyle, Tommy Schuster, and then I go Noah Vedral. But there's no clear cut favorite that Noah Vedral is even that guy. I mean, he's been there long enough, right?
Yeah.
They only had 4.5 yards per carry, per play last year. And so then you've got to look at, Piscataway and who was the backup, but then also a former 4-star recruit in Gavin Wimsatt could possibly land more snaps. So I think there's a fight there to be had. I just don't know who's going to come out, but right now, I would go with the veteran guy in Vedral.
Yeah, it seems like more often than not, from everything I'm looking at, people are leaning toward Gavin Wimsatt, which is interesting because he spot played last year and was 9 of 21 for 45 yards and 2 picks. So it's not like he's completely unknown. And it hasn't been good. Now, like you said, Rutgers offense has been pathetic altogether, averaged just 19.7 points per game last season. So it's almost like they're just hopeful for new instead of what they know in Noah Vedral, who's solid, threw last year for 1,813 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 7 picks, but didn't throw a touchdown in the final 6 games. That's pretty rough stretch, which is why they've probably got them up there. That's why I've got them at number 9. Number 8, that's where I actually have Tommy DeVito. You mentioned him earlier. I think you did. You already mentioned him.
I had him last.
Yeah. I do respect a little bit what he's done out there in ACC conference. He had a streak of 212 pass attempts without an interception, which is a record for Syracuse. That was back in 2019. The last couple of years have not been so kind to him. Through the first 3 games of 2020, excuse me, it was from 2019 to 22 that passing attempt without an interception streak. But in any case, he's career 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. In 2019, he threw for 2,360 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 picks. But last couple of years, season-ending injury in 2020, and things weren't going his way up there in Syracuse last year. So he transferred in week 6 last season, made it known that he was going to the transfer portal. But whether it's him, Artur Sitkowski is still there for what it's worth. Illinois is a team definitely not getting a whole lot of of respect in the preseason. I think that's fair, but I think he's a little bit of of upgrade over Artur Sitkowski and what they've had out there recently. So that's why I have him a little bit higher on the list.
Well, for me, I'm going to go right now at this point with Tanner Morgan. I think, but I find him in the middle of this pack because this is going to be the first quarterback to play Nebraska 5 times if he stays healthy, so that'll be in November 5th in Lincoln. So I think he has potential, but I put him in the middle because there's been some inconsistencies there. But I think this is the best chance for him to have his best receiving core since 2019 coming up. And so with his veteran leadership and the possibility of him knowing Nebraska, but he's facing Shenander pretty regularly. There could be some different rankles. He hasn't probably seen a guy possibly like O'Shawn Mathis that's going to be coming around the edge, and Garrett Nelson and the guys like that. But it could be a different look for him, but ultimately I think he finds himself in the middle of the pack because we just don't know what his receivers core are going to do. That's for me.
Yeah, I've got him a little bit higher, but not much higher. I mean, I'll go ahead and ruin the surprise here. Tanner Morgan, Spencer Petras, and Graham Mertz are basically the same person. They all play for Big Ten West teams. They all threw for about 11 or 10 or 11 touchdowns, about 10 or 11 interceptions, not explosive offenses. And so they're all kind of grouped in here for me. I give Tanner Morgan a little bit of respect, again, for what he's done in the past. So I have him a little bit higher. And he's got his offensive coordinator back. You mentioned that probably the best weapon since 2019. His offensive quarterback, Kirk Ciarrocca, is back from that unit as well for the first year. So maybe they can kind of spark that magic they had a few years ago when he threw for 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Hasn't looked anything like that since. But I have him at 5th. But overall, I have 7th. I have Graham Mertz. So I have him ahead of Graham Mertz and Spencer Petras of Iowa. Graham Mertz last year, 1,958 yards, 10 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. For what it's worth, you don't need to do a whole lot, as we know in the past against Nebraska. If you're a quarterback to win that game, was just 12 of 18 for 145 yards against Nebraska. He was a former 4-star guy that they chased out Jack Cohn with, and Jack Cohn proved to be a pretty good quarterback at Notre Dame. And it just hasn't really hit yet. I mean, he throws inopportune interceptions and just hasn't provided a spark there. It's hard to have these guys too high on the list. The fact that they're in the middle of the list should tell you something about the competition level that Nebraska has, at least at quarterback. There's not a whole lot of guys that you're going to fear going to come out and sling it all over the yard on you.
Well, yeah. So for me, I mean, I find myself having Spencer Petras and either one of them, Alex Padilla. I mean, Spencer Petras' pass accuracy has been his problem. Right? He's only 57%. Mobility isn't his best suit. So, but I think he's got some weapons, though. Normally, they'll sprinkle in a good running game, which is not going to be the same as it was last year, of course. Let's just be honest about that. But at the same time, you can't get no worse than 57%. If you just watch film and you study film and you're able to just break down and then work on mechanical issues that you had. I mean, even if you get to 65%, I think you're going to be better than what you were. And they were a successful team because they had a great defense. But
yeah,
I still kind of put him there in that spot. Then I go next to Graham Mertz. I'm not big on Graham Mertz. I just think that he's got a team. I mean, he's one of those top 100 recruits that signed with the Badgers that just haven't done very well and had the success. Turnover prone, but he's got good pedigree. I mean, he threw for 169 yards in 22 games. His ratio stinks, 19 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. But ultimately, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about Mertz, but I still think he's there. I think he's better than Petras. I think, as I look up and down that whole list, it's still, he kind of find him right there in that spot.
Yeah, and it's weird with him. I mean, they were the 120th best passing team last year, only 160 yards per game. And now they're going with a first-time offensive coordinator in Bobby Ingram. So that's also kind of weird that's where they go to they feel like that's the that's where they're going to finish up. Like that's the answer. But maybe it can be a different offensive coordinator in there. Paul Chris has done a lot of OCing himself over the last couple of years, and it has not been good as they've only averaged 25 points per game in the last couple of seasons. So maybe a new look can kind of break them out of that mold. I think they're going for a little bit more of a spread offense as well, which in the past it hasn't worked at Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin bruiser ball, even if it's without a great quarterback or a high upside on offense, but they're kind of getting frustrated up down there in Madison with how their quarterbacks have been playing. Let's quickly go into the top 4 now. I have Connor Bazelak of Indiana, transfer now from Missouri, former co-freshman of the year in the SEC. 6-3 as Missouri's starting quarterback, threw for 2,548 yards last season, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Of course, that 11 interceptions is a high number, but over 5,000 yards in his career. I think that he could sling the ball a little bit. He doesn't have much to work with there in Indiana, but at least they got themselves a quarterback.
And this was a tough one for me. I've got him switched, right? So I don't know what your next one is, but I'll just say I have Dylan Gabriel right here, and it's not because I don't think I just think that Connor just has a little bit more season to me, even though competition season, just a little bit of that. I think UCF is tremendous. He's very familiar with Scott Frost because Scott Frost recruited him there. 70 career touchdowns, breaking his collarbone in 2021. Coming off of that, I just think that the upswing in the talent level at OU that he's going to face, I don't know if he'll be ready for that. If he can get ready quickly, then yeah, he would jump into my top 3. But as of right now, I have him 4 behind Connor Bazelak.
That's interesting. So we've got completely different top 4 here. As my number 3 is actually Cade McNamara of Michigan.
Wow.
Who is
took you to the championship game.
Took you to the championship game, but he's like he's traditionally quarterbacking the offense there. He threw against Nebraska 22 of 38. You have to remember that was quite a surprise. He only averaged 23 attempts per game, and especially during the early non-con, they were not even throwing like 20 times a game. So it was a surprise that he came out slinging it last year. Ultimately, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,576 yards. I think that he's got, he did a good job of quarterbacking his team. And sometimes when that's what's asked of you,
it's easy when you're handing it off to Hassan.
Right.
Haskins, yeah.
Blake Corum, who got in. I mean, he's back. I think that Donovan Edwards is going to be good. They're running backs. That's probably going to take Hassan Haskins' role in that 1-2 punch. I think he's still got some things to work with. But just because he doesn't, I don't think he's the lead actor in that offense. That's why I've probably got him down a notch.
And he'll be challenged by J.J. McCarthy as well. That's
yeah.
another thing that's just not guaranteed for him. If he's tricking it off, then J.J. McCarthy's waiting in the wings, can jump in there and probably fill in a void. I mean, I don't think they're going to let it get too far away from them in that type of situation. But so I had Connor Bazelak, I had Cade McNamara, and of course, since we're getting down to it, you already know I have Aiden O'Connell.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I don't even have to really speak about that. You just know what you're getting with that guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Aiden O'Connell guy, so I'm glad to hear that we agree there. 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year, 3,712 yards. For what it's worth, I have Dylan Gabriel at number 2. I know you had him at number 3, but you mentioned some of it, and there is a worry about him coming back from injury, so that's probably why maybe you slid him down a little bit. But in any case, Aiden O'Connell, what people do fear is that he doesn't have David Bell. He doesn't even have Milton Wright now, who is the number 2 receiver, but he didn't have either of them in the bowl game, and he threw for 534 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I think he'll be just fine. And Purdue doesn't have a running game, and they don't try to have a running game. It's the Aiden O'Connell show.
What it is.
And he'll be out there slinging that ball around. I think he's the most difficult. But again, when you look at this list, I think there's maybe, to me, it's Dylan Gabriel and Aiden O'Connell who I'm worried about, kind of throwing for 350 or more. I don't really have too much of concern about the rest of the quarterbacks. I think that the black shirts have their own questions. Don't get me wrong, but the schedule is not overbearing with tough, difficult quarterbacks to match up with.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It just comes down to that. I think looking at Purdue, I mean, just take note. I mean, they could perhaps have one of the league's best offensive teams this year.
Oh, yeah.
They've got 2 recruits that came over from Iowa, and Tyrone Tracy and Charlie Jones. they could have something, in the bag. There's some tricks out there for Jeff Brom, who is a very offensive minded coach.
Yeah, don't sleep on Purdue. I know some people are, because they do. I mean, they lost George Karlaftis on that side, on the defensive side as well. So you have to think that unit might take a step back, but in Aidan O'Connell we trust here on the block. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, it's time for Shootout with Strick. Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. All you have to do is call right now because, well, it's only one contestant. So the first contestant will do 402-464-5685. We'll see if you can beat Strick in a shootout. Coming up next on 93.7 The Ticket.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals. Bagels & Joe is in full summer mode. They'll add cold foam to the top of any iced coffee. Plus, they now have a Joe Coffee Club. Get unlimited drip coffee for just $8.95 per month. And don't forget their delicious breakfast burritos and sandwiches. Bagels & Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for mechanics of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package, along with paid time off within just 60 days of employment, as well as a 401k and a boot and clothing allowance. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmarkimp.com/careers or contact Deanna 402-310-7561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
Don't wait for the Lincoln fireworks stands to open up. Get the good stuff now at Roca Crazy Cracker in downtown Roca. Stop in through July 4th for the hot spot for rockets and more this Independence Day. Open 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Roca Crazy Cracker fireworks in downtown Roca.
John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that. Options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
On Time Transport in Lincoln says, stay safe this Independence Day by keeping parties off of our roads. Avoid talking, texting, and speeding. And don't forget, buzz driving is still driving under the influence and can lead to trouble or grief. This safety message from On Time Transport. For more information, call 402-328-9082 or visit them online at ottlincoln.com. On Time Transport, reminding you that when you're behind the wheel, let's give our truckers some room on the road and have a safe, happy July 4th holiday. Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning in to Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Life is tough. The stress and despair can sometimes feel like it's too much. But you aren't alone. There is help, hope, and healing in the Heartland for anyone struggling with suicidal thoughts. For free crisis support, call 1-800-273-8255. We'll get through this together. Nebraska needs you. The Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, helping people like you live better lives.
Aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
A lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
Oh, it's good to hear that music and be back for another episode of Shootout with Strick. Strick, how did you do while I was away? You pretty good at the shootouts?
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, just LER comes on and he be wolf. I'm gonna let you play LER one time. I'm gonna do.
Is he Googling? Is that what you think?
Huh?
You think he's Googling?
I think he's using the Google machine.
Oh yeah, he's cheating.
There's no doubt. And you gotta stop. I think when we give out the freaking what the topics are, I'm telling you, there are people that go on the Google machine.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I mean, you get a little any advantage you can take, you have to try to.
Yeah, but they be facing. You could tell one guy said he had his dad. He said he had his dad. And he's like, oh yeah, my dad was. I could tell. I was like, you are not answering those questions.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, there's only like 40 seconds you get, and it's like, let me think. Well, let me get my dad's input here. Like, man, you got to go quickly. Today we have Troy here to try to contest you, Strick. Troy, how do you feel about NBA starting point guards?
Oh, great. Yep, great.
Yep, yeah. Perfect. He's full of confidence. So, Troy, we'll get to you here in a second, but first we got to get to Strick so we know what point total you have to reach. Strick, are you ready to go?
Let's get it.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. Who's the Pacers starting point guard, Rajon Rondo or Malcolm Brogdon?
Brogdon.
That is correct. Who is the Bucks starting point guard, Jrue Holiday or Kemba Walker?
Jrue Holiday.
That is correct. This rookie out of Gonzaga started for the Magic last season, Jalen Suggs or Tyrese Maxey?
Suggs.
That is correct. This Cavaliers point guard made his first All-Star appearance this past season, Devontae Graham or Darius Garland?
Garland.
That is correct. And out of current NBA point guards, who has the most all-time assists?
CP3.
It is CP3. All 6 points for Strix.
You get it, Stricky. You come back off break, refreshed and refined.
Didn't miss one. So all you have to do is not miss any of these. Are you ready, Troy?
Yo, yeah. You bet.
All right.
But I play for the people, Troy, so you know.
You still have a chance to win at the end of this,
That's true.
even if you lose. All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. Who is the Kings starting point guard, Kyle Lowry or De'Aaron Fox?
De'Aaron Fox.
That's correct. Who is the Bulls starting point guard, Lonzo Ball or Mike Conley?
Lonzo Ball.
That is correct. This Raptors point guard recently signed a 4-year extension, Fred VanVleet or D'Angelo Russell?
VanVleet.
That is correct. This former Wizards point guard was traded to the Mavericks midseason, Spencer Dinwiddie or Monte Morris?
Dinwiddie.
That is correct. And this Hornets point guard was the 2021 Rookie of the Year. You have to answer.
2, 1.
Rookie of the Year.
No.
Don't know.
No.
Oh, you were right there. You got all the questions right, but not in time for the last one. It's LaMelo Ball was the Rookie of the Year a few years ago. But in any case, Troy, you come up short despite playing very well today.
Great job, Troy. Listen, you was on it, man.
Yeah, very
Great
close.
run.
Hey, thank you.
But in any case, you have a chance now, Troy, just like everybody else. You should hang up now. Caller number 3 will win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings based on Strick winning. He plays for the people. So 402-464-5685. Caller number 3 is going to go home with $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Boom shakalaka.
Well, I better turn that around for your boom shakalaka. It's be a lot louder
Boom
than that.
shakalaka.
Give me a hell yeah. I said, give me a hell yeah.
I forgot you actually, I played the wrong one. That's for the contestant. Usually this is your winning, huh?
Finish him. Flawless victory.
I played the contestant.
And
winning.
it
Well,
was a
everybody's
flawless
winning today.
victory. How did you not
I
No,
messed
that
it
was
up.
a flawless one,
Yeah.
too.
Oh, well. You
Oh,
know,
well.
first
He's
day
on
back.
fire.
Yeah, we probably got to get that in there somewhere, too. We'll take a quick break and return with On the Block coming up next. We've got a few things to talk about as we go into the 5 o'clock hour. Mostly on my mind is Northern Noelle now obviously not going to miss the upcoming football season. So my big question is, if I told you the biggest obstacle for Nebraska is this offensive line, if I told you that Nebraska's got one of the top tier offensive lines in the Big Ten, what would your record prediction be? Let us know. Give us a text here, 402-464-5685 on the Sarman Aidman text line. If offensive line is not a fear, what would your record prediction be for Nebraska? Let us know. Next, we'll be back on the block.
My computer was a dinosaur, and our TV, well, let's just say it was definitely time for an upgrade. But finding a way wasn't so simple. And then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. I earned cash for the study and was able to make those much-needed upgrades. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
MaxTan is celebrating 29 years with some Max-tastic birthday sales. Get 50% off unlimited tanning, sun, and spray with no contract and no sign-up. MaxTan celebrates 29 years with you with 4 Lincoln locations. Take your tan to the max at MaxTan.
Pillar Restaurant Group is proud to announce the full opening of our brick-and-mortar venue-at-home store, Lincoln's new premier specialty grocers. This store is home to our brand new Butchery by Venue. Get the finest Nebraska steaks, hand-cut in-house by our butcher, prepared for our restaurants, and available for you to take home. With hand-selected specialty seafood, charcuterie, wine, bourbon, and liquor options. Come in today to see what we have to offer at 70th and Pioneers in the Pioneer Woods Shopping Center. Open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Sunny skies and warm temps expected here for our Tuesday, topping out near 88. Southwest winds will be a little breezy at 15 to 20. Overnight, mainly clear with a low dropping down to 66. Hot and windy tomorrow. South winds gusting over 30 with an afternoon high of 94. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat with a simplified buying process, at-home test drives, hassle-free delivery, and service pickup and return. Check out all our new vehicle specials now during the Ram Make the Switch event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
We stand on the shoulders of women who came before us.
Women who fought for their own financial futures.
And now it's our turn.
Join us. Visit WeSaySaveIt.org and take control of your financial future by saving for retirement.
A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega and I like Pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
Back on the block, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com is where you can find us every day, 4 to 7. Oops, 6, 2 hours, not 3. I might be speaking something into existence, but right now we're 2. 2 hours a day, 4 to 6. You can find us on the block right here, and you can join us on the block on the Sutter Hammond text line at 402-464-5685 is where you can also tap into the conversation, and you can also call in at that same number if the conversation gets really good to you, and you may be able to pop on the show. We'd love to hear from you at all times. Also, you can find us on streaming platforms. That is YouTube, Twitch, and Spotify, 93.7 The Ticket, as well as on the block. That's where we be. My man Bach threw out a fishing rod. He's standing in the water. He's hunting for some bass and some fish, and he threw out a fishing rod that was kind of interesting, and I think we're going to tap in on that question right now. And that question is, if all things being perfecto, in order, divinely orchestrated, the offensive line is premier, reminiscent. I'm not saying it's like back in 94, 95, 95. No, I'm not. We're not going back to the pipeline, but I'm saying if they're, they got a little spunk, they got a little drive, they got a little power, they're getting a little leverage, they're moving some bodies a little bit. They're if you're playing tug of war, the tug of war flag is moving in the other direction towards the touchdown end zone for Nebraska. Okay. That line is upper tier in the Big Ten, which is tough in the Big Ten. When you're looking at Michigan, Iowa, you just go down, even Minnesota, you just keep going down the line. It's good. What would be your prediction? Sutter Hammond, text line is open at 402-464-5685. I'm going to toss it to Bach. I'm throwing the fishing rod out. I'm catching the biggest bass in the lake or in the river or stream. Matter of fact, salmon probably. But, Bach, how you feel about it, how you see it, how you view it, what do you think?
Well, offensive line is my biggest concern for this team. That was the case before this past weekend when guard Norton Noelle announced that he's not going to be able to play this upcoming year. He's going to have to sit a year out and lose a season of eligibility. I felt like he was their probably best offensive lineman outside of Cam Jurgens there late in the season. He started the final 7 games and was pretty consistent. Now you don't have him to lean on a little bit there. So it's the biggest question mark for me. And I'm still kind of at that 500 type of, 500 or worse, to be honest with you, type of projections for the Nebraska football team, because that's what I've seen over the last several years. And I think that the offensive line and special teams last year were borderline disastrous. I mean, there's bad, there's teams that struggle, there's, bad, and then there's disaster. They were pretty close to that. And I've said it over and over again, but I believe it, that I was pretty impressed with Nebraska's offense was able to do with the offensive line that they had. And I think that you're heading toward another season of that, but with a quarterback that's going to be able to you hopefully take less shots than Adrian Martinez was able to, because part of his game is that he's a big guy. He can take some of those hits and you can run him up the middle several times a game. I don't think you have that with new quarterback Casey Thompson. So I think that the offensive line problem could be even worse. The hope is that all these guys kind of get better. And if that did happen, I feel great about the depth at running back and wide receiver and quarterback and tight end. So I feel like if you give me that, I feel like the defense can kind of, move on from last year. I think there's a few losses that's going to make it quite as good. But, if you got similar result out of the defense, I do think you could win 8 or 9 games with a solid offensive line. but I don't necessarily project that, and that's why I'm a little bit worried about finishing close to 500 and fighting for a bowl game. Is that offensive line? It's got an uphill battle. Maybe Donovan Raiola. Maybe that's all you needed was a Raiola in play to kind of get him going and critique it and work on all those. There's a lot of depth there on the offensive line as well. For what it's worth, it's just not a whole lot of proven stuff there. And that's, I'm just concerned. I think that's where my ultimate holdup for this team is. And it took another punch in the gut this past weekend.
I mean, listen, we had an opportunity at, BP with DP to sit down with Sunday morning pancakes, and, Brent Banks and, Nerd and Newley, they didn't give it. They did a really good job. Let me just say that, because I was really kind of probing them a little bit. I was trying to get a little inside scoop into Coach Raiola and to see kind of how they're talking and what type of conversations they're having in there, and what is the behind the scenes motivation that's sparking everybody's motor. And they were very tactical in their conversation. Kudos to them, very good. But losing Newley, Nurden.
Yeah, just go Nuri. That's it. That's
Nuri.
the easiest way to do it.
Losing Nuri is going to be tough. I mean, that is a hard loss. I hate that for him as well. I mean, because he was definitely emerging. I'm sure he was looking forward to this specific season.
Oh yeah,
the turnaround opportunity that was available there. But again, they're going to have to take a next up mentality. Hopefully they'll draw inspiration for what Cam was able to do. Hopefully a lot of them were able to observe his work ethic and his drive and his abilities to grow and develop and what that looked like, and take that into account, that an opportunity is available to them, and who's going to take it, who's going to want it, who's going to be the one that's going to emerge as leader of that pack in that room, and inspire the whole crew to basically get it done. I mean, I remember like back in the day, it didn't matter. I mean, if a guy went down, you can shift. I think one of the things we did learn is that in my conversation with them is that they're not specific in their training on the line, meaning you're not right tackle. You're everything, basically. You're learning right guard, left tackle. You're learning every aspect of that. And that's good because it gives you a wholesome approach as to what the line is going to be doing, what they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to do. And if anything happens or any fill-ins are needed, or if someone is not performing, that you have the ability to shift and move people into specific positions. I thought that was pretty interesting in learning what they're trying to do there on the line. And so hopefully they can get it done. My prediction is, I think if they're able to, like I said, have movement that's going, I mean, it doesn't have to be pancakes like it used to be. I mean, any movement in the positive direction. And I think if you can get 2.7 to 3 seconds, which is difficult, but if you can get that, then that gives Casey a step up to give more time, a slide to give more time, to give more development on their routes, and to be able to find guys that are maybe, if they're blitzing or if they're whatever. And if they can pick up those things, give them a little bit more time, I think they'll find that they'll have success. But definitely it's got to be movement. I think if they can get into play action this year where you're getting that 4.5 yards a carry, then you got something, then you've got to bring guys in and down, and linebackers have to move up a little bit. And, guys have to begin to come down from that safety position, which opens up more lanes where I think they've got a good receiving core to be able to exploit. That's my thoughts. So I'm looking at I'm still looking at that 7, 5, 8, 4. I'm in that range.
Yeah,
if that happens.
And I think too, the offensive line looked good in the spring, but their counterpart, the defensive line, was pretty beat up. But either way, maybe that's not exactly the defensive lines you're going to be playing in the fall, but at least to get that confidence rolling and to kind of get the to kind of see it out there on the field might work for them. And they do. There's a lot of depth on this. There's a lot of guys that you can go to fill in for Norrie's spot here, including guys that have started before, and Trent Hickson and Ethan Piper. Hickson looked like he was going to be the center. Maybe this changes that. Brant Banksy is another option there as we're talking about guys that, right now he's kind of playing tackle. So, but like you said, maybe it's more of an idea of we're going to take the best 5, and I don't care what they've been playing at. We'll just kind of work those guys in. And I think it puts especially a little bit more of an emphasis on the offensive line additions that they had in the portal. I think that those guys, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they're not, maybe it's because the position isn't sexy. Maybe it's because the offensive line has struggled. Maybe it's because they're not like the highest rated guys coming in. But I thought out of the transfer portal, Kevin Williams was a little bit overrated or overlooked. Hunter Anthony a little bit overlooked, and maybe part of it is just kind of the idea when you project forward, you didn't necessarily have them as starters. Maybe one of those guys can fill in and be that answer for the loss of Nuri. But, I think if you look at the Scott Frost tenure so far, you hope it all changes with Mark Whipple coming in and switching things around. But it's hard for any offensive coordinator if you can't get a traditional run game going and you can't pass protect. And that's been the story of the Scott Frost era, is it's been a lot of quarterback run because the traditional run isn't working. And, the passing game as a whole has been suspect, whether you want to blame that on Adrian, his happy feet is prone to making errors, or the fact that he was playing behind an offensive line that didn't really give him much of a choice, many of those games. It kind of depends on where you fall there. But again, I keep going back to the fact that, yes, Casey Thompson, I think, is a much better passer than Adrian ever was. But he doesn't have as much of a dual threat component to his game, and he can't take as many hits. So you're going to have to get that traditional running game going a little bit more because he's simply just not going to be a big part of the running game in my mind.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think what's going to be interested to watch is who's going to emerge out of the backfield. I mean, is it going to be a big bruising back? Is it going to be that kind of in the middle type of guy, or is it going to be going back to the small scat, or are they going to use a combination? I'm interested to see what style of run game they're going to use. I mean, for me, I think if you can get back to having success in moving the line by those zone blocking schemes, and you've got movement where those runners can find that hole and be able to pop through it and get some success out of that. That gets or getting back to, because I don't know if they're going to run out of shotgun. I probably assume that they are. But if they can get back to just getting off them tackles and getting off in them good inside run leads and stuff like that, where they can get movement, I think you can have success, because then that just opens up so many things in your scheme. What their route combinations. I always thought that Scott was good at that. Their route combinations that were opened up the tight end position. And that's another thing. I'm interested to see where the tight end is gonna, who's gonna emerge out of that group. Because right now we just don't know.
Yeah, they're pretty beat up from the spring. Charles Vokalek, I think, is who you'd expect to. But I don't think he has the ceiling that Austin Allen did. So I think that's kind of a drop off in weaponry there for this new offense and the new offensive look. But, over time, Mark Whipple has used his tight ends when he's had some good ones So we'll see if that becomes a bigger part of the offense. It was quite a big piece last year. But who knows?
Sutter Heyman text line. Yeah. Let's hear from you. 402-464-5685. Where do you think, if all things being perfecto, that the line is getting it done in pass blocking as well as some movement up front, where do you think the Huskers land? I mean, do you think it's outlandish to say, with the schedule that they have, that 10-2 is out there? 9-3?
I think it's a big jump for 4 years.
We're talking about perfecto. We're talking about perfect, not what we know and what we expect.
Not what we expect.
But we're talking about
the offensive
perfect
line
situation.
is solid.
But see, then, so perfect line situation, I think I find myself still at that 7-5-8-4. Here's why: because I still don't know what the defense is going to give me. I know what the linebackers are going to give me. I don't know what my safeties are because we just don't know what leadership is going to emerge out of that safety position, which is a major part. I mean, you go back and look at the Tony Velans, the mentors, those types of safeties back in the day that basically ran the whole ship, even Toby Wrights, and just those safety cores have been really tough and they're good. But then their cornerbacks, you think you can see something there, but are they going to get pressure? Is it going to be rush 4 pressure, or are they going to need blitz packages that are going to be intricate? Is it going to be zone blitz packages? I know they're going to throw a mix of them, but how are they going to be able to get a consistent pressure on the quarterback? If they can get back to old school up front 4, where they don't have to do a whole bunch, and then your blitz packages just become like cherries on the top, because you're just are we shifting left? Are we gonna have to put 2 on O'Shawn Mathis, and then boom, a blitz package comes from a safety or a corner from the weak side, and you're boom, you got to fumble and stuff like that. I just don't know. That's where I'm a little bit kind of hesitant to go into that 10, that 9 range area, because I just don't know defensively what type of movement's going to happen up front yet. I still don't know where that's going to be secured.
Yeah, my biggest concern on the defense too is more about stopping the run. I think the pass rush is definitely better. O'Shawn Mathis will bring that to the table, and I think just his presence is going to help boost kind of Nelson and all the other guys have the opportunity, because I think O'Shawn Mathis will attract attention, sometimes double teams or kind of the running back staying in to help with him, and that can open up things for the rest of the guys rushing the passer. It's stopping the run, which again has been hit and miss in the Frost era, and Shenandoah's done a good job of getting his defenses better, but you just kind of wonder if they have, Damian Daniels is another guy. Again, it doesn't take just the second round draft picks to be guys that they're going to miss. I think Daniels is a guy that you could have ran a lot more 3-4 with him, and that kind of changes your scheme entirely. Certainly a guy that ate up bodies in space and helped in defending the run. I don't know if they have that sort of package in play that's going to allow Henrich and Luke Reimer to fill those holes and get those tackles. So certainly that's part of it. I want to go to the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Space Cadet says, do you think that losing Nori is really going to hurt us that bad? In my eyes, the line is definitely our weak link, but in all honesty, I may be pushing it. I won't be happy with less than 9 wins considering the schedule. So I mean, I know there are fans out there that like Space Cadet that want to see a massive improvement, not just skate by and get to a bowl game somewhere in the 6 or 7 win category that we've kind of been probably projecting or thinking that they might get to. Do you see that as asking for too much in year 5 now for Scott Frost?
A 9-win season?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Asking too much?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think
you're jumping from 3 wins with a lot, a big change.
And I understand, I understand when you look on paper, but I also understand, and this is synonymous across all sports. I think that foundational keys that hold up your house, that hold up your building, that hold up your team are still so important.
Yeah.
And with so much turnover, the establishings of those hierarchies and those leadership roles, and that takes time. You have to, yes, it can happen, but they're a rarity to where it happens. It's not like something that happens all the time. That's why I said you can't really have a tremendous turnover like you had this year and have it next year again. Mm-hmm. They've already had it, I would say, venture to say, in 3 seasons of his tenure. Where when they first came, maybe the
Stanley and the Zigbo group,
you know what I mean?
Kind of leftover Mike Riley guys.
Yeah, so then I think in 3 seasons, to include last year, I would venture to say that you had these tremendous turnovers, and it's tough now that you're also having another leader at the quarterback position, and you have a new OC. Where you're trying to understand, yes, they're trying to keep semblance on the, the terminologies and stuff, but they're still just some unknowns in that, and those foundational pieces is what holds up the ship. You know what I mean? It locks in. It keeps the ship from sinking when you know you've got those foundational pieces to keep it together. And that's what I don't know. That's the kind of question mark in this whole thing for me.
Well, and that's, you hear it every year when you're going into year 2 of an offensive coordinator. So just because you're going into year 1, you're maybe a sneak peek to hopefully what happens with Mark Whipple coming in year 2 is you'll hear the guys say, well, yeah, now this fall program or this spring program is much better time period than where we were last year with install and all that stuff, because you're building off of it. You have the foundation. Right now, like you said, they're just kind of setting the foundation. Hopefully everybody is kind of coming along at the same time. A lot of new pieces coming in, knowing all these different offenses. It's going to take some time to gel. And that's why I do think that it's good. Nebraska's got, certainly a pretty difficult stretch to end the year. But to open up, other than Oklahoma, you don't have too much to worry about. You have some time to kind of gel and get together. And not saying not worry about it in terms of losses. We've seen this team can lose to anybody. But you need to. But at least it's a little bit light on the schedule in the front to kind of try to get to midseason form by midseason, because it should take some patience for people here. JP says off the text line, would 9 wins be too much to ask after 5 years? If you answered the same question when Frost was hired, how things have changed. That was the expectation. For what it's worth, Bill Callahan won 9 games here. Mike Riley won 9 games here. It doesn't take an absolute genius or somebody at the top of the profession to win 9 games at Nebraska. Now, Scott Frost, you could argue, probably inherited a bigger, from a worse spot or a deeper hole than those guys did. But it is what it is. I agree with you. It's kind of sad to look back on, but we lived through it. We know the sadness. We lived the sadness. And it's a big jump to get to 9 wins. That's why I say when I predict 6 wins, people come at me saying I'm being negative. I'm doubling their win total from last year. I'm giving them the highest win total since Frost has been here if they get to 6. And I understand that might not be enough, and that might not be what you want. Ultimately, it's not what I want ultimately either. But sometimes people can make drastic turnarounds, but a lot of times it's steps. And I think that what you're looking for, in the very least, is steps toward that for Scott Frost and this program this upcoming year.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we got to take a break right now on 93.7 The Ticket. The ticketfm.com. You're on the block. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about a new system out in the ACC. And will it be possible that other conference would adopt the same method? We'll come back and talk about that right after. Thank you for tapping in and being with us here on the block. We'll be right back after this.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock, or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Football season will be here before you know it, and you can get ahead of everyone else with the first annual Evening with the Huskers event at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill. Join 93.7 The Ticket and Husker Online's Sean Callahan for an evening with current Nebraska football players and surprise guests as they preview the season ahead. Enjoy cocktail hour and a delicious Wagyu steak dinner, as well as an open bar for the duration of the event, all for just $199 per person. Click the logo for the event at theticketfm.com to sign up. Don't delay, this will fill up fast. Don't miss your chance to meet and greet with Husker football players at Tanner's Bar and Grill and Tavern 180 in Lincoln at 30th and Yankee Hill. Sign up today at theticketfm.com using the Evening with the Huskers banner. It's an evening with the Huskers to preview the 2022 Nebraska football season at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Presented by Husker Online and 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat with a simplified buying process, at-home test drives, hassle-free delivery, and service pickup and return. Check out all our new vehicle specials now during the Ram Make the Switch event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Pillar Restaurant Group is proud to announce the full opening of our brick-and-mortar venue-at-home store, Lincoln's new premier specialty grocers. This store is home to our brand new Butchery by Venue. Get the finest Nebraska steaks, hand-cut in-house by our butcher, prepared for our restaurants, and available for you to take home. With hand-selected specialty seafood, charcuterie, wine, bourbon, and liquor options. Come in today to see what we have to offer at 70th and Pioneers in the Pioneer Woods Shopping Center. Open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Sunny skies and warm temps expected here for our Tuesday, topping out near 88. Southwest winds will be a little breezy at 15 to 20. Overnight, mainly clear with the low dropping down to 66. Hot and windy tomorrow. South winds gusting over 30 with an afternoon high of 94. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Don't wait for the Lincoln fireworks stands to open up. Get the good stuff now at Roca Crazy Cracker in downtown Roca. Stop in through July 4th for the hot spot for rockets and more this Independence Day. Open 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Roca Crazy Cracker fireworks in downtown Roca. Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, On the Block is hot. We're here once again. We're going to tap in on the 525. Well, we're past that. We got to talk. Bach, you talk too much.
Yeah,
God
we've been
dang.
talking a little bit.
Yeah, it got good to me. Tastes real tasty. That conversation about Nebraska, the pipeline, the pork, the insides of the Nebraska heart. But we're going to tap in and move over and, start talking about what the ACC got going on. ACC's doing a little something, Bach. They mixed it up a little bit. They threw me off. There's no more,
College
divisions.
football's changing every day, it feels like.
No more divisions, it looks like. There's been a major change that hit the Atlantic Coast Conference in the scheduling of their football games. The league has announced on Tuesday that they're starting in 2023. They're already adopting the method, and they will adopt a 3-5-5 scheduling model In football, and under the new model, each team will play 3 primary opponents annually, and they will face the other 10 in the league twice during the 4-year cycle, at home and once again on the road. Under the new format, the Atlantic Coastal Conference and the divisions will be exited out, and the 14 teams will compete in the same division. The 2 teams with the best conference winning, listen to that, the 2 teams with the best conference winning percentages will face off in the ACC championship game. So an example of what that would look like, Bach, is that, say, for instance, you're a
Florida State.
You're a Florida State fan, right?
Yeah.
And, you're going to face, in 2023, you're going to face Miami, Syracuse, Duke, Virginia Tech, and then you will play at Clemson, Boston College, Pitt, and Wake Forest, okay? So going into the next year in 2024, FSU will then host Clemson, BC, North Carolina, and NC State, and they will play at Miami, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, and Virginia, okay? Yeah. There's some commonality still connected to that. Obviously, Clemson, obviously, Miami, and then the other team that was connected to that is Syracuse. Yeah. So that's their pod. All right. 2025, FSU then hosts Pitt and Wake Forest, along with Miami again and Syracuse. And they'll play at Duke, Louisville, Virginia Tech, and Clemson. And the last, 2026, FSU will face Georgia Tech at home, Louisville, Virginia, and Clemson at home. And then they will play UNC, North Carolina State, Syracuse, and Miami on the road. So that kind of gives you an example of what that would be. Here's my issue, Bach. When you think about this part of the switch of the 3-5-5, is there a possibility that it messes up the rivalries? Does it throw a wrench in the rivalries?
Yeah, it does. It does a little bit of 2 things there. It kind of like it narrows the scope on the rivalries that you do have, right? When you're going to play 3 teams year in, year out, those are undoubtedly your rivalries because you're not doing that with everybody else. But it's also going to break up rivalries that have been there for a long time, including North Carolina State and Wake Forest. They've played every year since 1910, and under this new format, they're not permanent rivals, so they're not going to see each other in 2 of those 4 years. Again, so if you're not part of the rivals, the 3 rivals that you play every year, again, the systems, it makes sense, but it's kind of hard to explain over the radio, is that they'll play Wake Forest, North Carolina State would every other year.
Part of the 5-5.
Yeah, because you play 5 teams one year, then 5 teams the next. So I think it's kind of cool in that it will give you a little bit more of a change in the schedule that you'll play year in and year out. You're just going to see those 3 same opponents again, but you just kind of think of in a 12-game schedule, we're so used to divisions. We're so used to playing, at this point in divisions, 6 teams for Nebraska in the Big Ten West, playing 6 teams every year. You just know that's going to be on your schedule. When you narrow that down to 3, you're going to have less kind of, familiarity, and that's going to change for the coaches with the opponents that you play outside of that. And again, I think it narrows the scope on the rivalries that you do have. The problem with it is that not everybody's going to be happy with the group they're in. Okay, so this is not necessarily the pod system, because in the pod system, each team would have the same 3 other teams that they're playing. And the ACC, what they've done is not necessarily had the pod system, just have each team have 3 teams that they play. Again, it can be kind of confusing, but I hope you get what I'm saying. So like Boston College, they have Miami, Pitt, and Syracuse. Miami has Boston College, Florida State, and Louisville. So it's not a pod of Boston College, Miami, Pitt, and Syracuse. They're not all playing each other.
Right.
They just each have 3 different rivals. The Pac-12 probably will go to this. They've eliminated divisions for 2023. The SEC is kind of thinking about it. The Big Ten's actually kind of just sitting back and saying, yeah, we thought about it, but nothing major has come out about it. It looks like this upcoming year will be the last year, at least for now, of divisions, which will make me kind of sad. I kind of like the way that it is, and like many of us, don't like change, but change is coming. It's on the way, and there are some positives to it. But you just kind of wonder if it does get to the Big Ten. If you're Nebraska, you've got your choice. You want Wisconsin and Iowa and Minnesota. Well, what if instead they come out and say, well, there's been some other teams that wanted these teams. Instead, you get Northwestern, Michigan State, and Iowa. Well, then you don't get everything you want. So, I mean, that's what a lot of these fan bases were kind of dealing with today, is like, that's not the three teams I would choose. Or another part of it is like you're looking at one school like Georgia Tech. They've got Clemson, Louisville, and Wake Forest, who that's a pretty good group of teams you have to play year in and year out. And like Pitt has Boston College, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech.
I'd want to be in that pod.
A little bit easier,
yeah.
Right? So it's not necessary. The idea is to get it to be more fair and to have, you play everybody in your college career, to at least play everybody twice. But it's hard to predict how good these teams are going to be. So some of these guys with their permanent rivalries are just going to get a heck of an advantage, like we currently see. I mean, the system's not perfect now. The crossovers, we always talk about, who's got the tough draw on the crossovers and stuff like that. But that will continue. There's no perfect system. They're just looking for a better system.
Yeah, I really am interested for what our listeners would have to say. Who would you actually want in a pod or a 3-5-5? Who would you like to see, or where would you like to go every year and be challenged, or take the soft as cottonelle approach? Which one do you want? Do you would you much rather go with the Northwestern, Indiana, and Illinois row? Is that what you want? Or do you want to hey, do you want to go up to the big house, or do you want to face Penn State and then maybe Iowa? You know what I'm saying? How do you want it? Like Tupac said, how do you want it? How does it feel? What we want to know from you at 402-464-5685. We want to hear what you think about that. Well, how would you like to see it, Bob? Like, if you had your best choice, I know you just said kind of. Yeah. Is that your best choice?
I think that's the most likely scenario. If it was me, I'd like the problem is, again, I know it's not going to happen. Like, I'd like to play Michigan year in and year out, but if they do a 3-5-5, Michigan has to play Michigan State and Ohio State.
Facts.
And then you can't give them another brand name. You got to give them,
give them like
that's
Indiana
already,
or something.
That's already a tough draw for them.
They're not going to probably give them Minnesota. They'll probably give them like an Indiana or an Illinois or something.
Yeah. So if I'm Nebraska, like, ideally, I think you want to keep Iowa for sure.
For sure.
I think Wisconsin has a lot of people still like the juice that's involved there. I think that idea of that rivalry has burned off a little bit because Nebraska hasn't been competitive.
Anything in it. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to keep Minnesota in because of the I like the $5 bits of broken chair trophy. And geographically, that one makes a little bit of sense, somewhat closer to Nebraska. I mean, there's no great choice there. But I'd actually like Michigan State because Nebraska played, that's a program that's somewhat hit or miss, whether it's going to be competitive or not. But Nebraska-Michigan State games were pretty good when they were members
even
of
back
the
in the day.
Legends
Yeah.
Division.
Even back in the day, they were always good games when we played them. Even when Saban was there, we spanked that tail. But
that's right.
So just let it be known, Saban, you don't want to see us. You don't want to see the Husker. Let me be quiet because they might blast us right now. So Sutter Heyman text time, what are they talking about?
00 Stevens says, if we want national relevance, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Ohio State. Yeah, those would pretty good draws there.
He said Iowa, Wisconsin, and Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah. You have to take on Ohio State year in and year out.
Ooh.
Somebody else on the text
That's just because he wants to go to the shoe.
Yeah, maybe. Somebody else likes that idea. They have Ohio State, Iowa, and Northwestern. They want to take a little bit of a break on how difficult that Wisconsin lineup is pretty high. Drizzlefish says Wisconsin, Iowa, and Northwestern. So there is a lot of feeling, I think, too, towards Northwestern. I think it's between Northwestern and Minnesota mostly, that Nebraska, Iowa, and Wisconsin are those rivalries that you think would be continued.
Be preserved.
And then the third one's kind of a pick between Northwestern and Minnesota. Crusty Dusty says, depends on how the 5 other teams get split. If Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State are grouped in that 5, that's way too tough. Yeah, that's another thing is that could
you
be
come off your 5 with like, yeah.
Or you just got 5 really difficult ones and then 5 not so difficult ones. So every other year is like a gauntlet and then an easy year. Yeah, I mean, they have to split those up evenly too. It's quite a headache, I'm sure, for the people that are trying to do this.
But does it make the conference better? Like right now, I think the conference kind of beats up on itself, and Ohio State just kind of emerges mostly, other than last year with Michigan. But do you think that kind of balances the conference out? being that you've got to win a nice high percentage. You can't just, does that put you in just the top tier bowl games, or do you miss because right now there's just a lot of infighting and they end up coming up short.
Well, I think it would help to break up the Big Ten East a little bit. I don't think any way you slide it, Ohio State's a grade above everybody else. I don't care how you decide the champion, and will most likely get in. Because, Ryan Day's only had one loss in the Big Ten play, that game in Michigan in Ann Arbor last season. But in any case, I do think that it makes it a little bit, but I hesitate to say it because, yes, the Big Ten West isn't the Big Ten East. That's just kind of something that I've said it from the beginning before all the losses in the Big Ten championship game. This is a design flaw. This does not make sense. You don't have a competitive divisions. And it's played out that way. The Big Ten West since 2014 has not won a Big Ten championship game. And that's kind of the idea of breaking this up with the 3-5-5. It's the two best teams. You don't have to pick from one division or the other. But I liked the Big Ten West identity, which has developed, which is part of it's not winning the Big Ten championship game. But the other part of it is slow prodding, win the low scoring games, powerful big boy football. And so breaking that up is going to make me a little bit sad, but I don't think many of those teams have much of a choice in the recruiting footprint, and they're going to have to continue that model. You just won't see them as often.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, we got to take a break. Thanks for tapping in on that text line, giving us great information there. We're on the block, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. I am E. Strick, and that is my partner, Jake Bakoven. We'll be right back to finish up this last segment right after these messages.
On Time Transport in Lincoln says, stay safe this Independence Day by keeping parties off of our roads. Avoid talking, texting, and speeding. And don't forget, buzz driving is still driving under the influence and can lead to trouble or grief. This safety message from On Time Transport. For more information, call 402-328-9082 or visit them online at ottlincoln.com. On Time Transport, reminding you that when you're behind the wheel, let's give our truckers some room on the road and have a safe, happy July 4th holiday.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at healthresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat with a simplified buying process, at-home test drives, hassle-free delivery, and service pickup and return. Check out all our new vehicle specials now during the Ram Make the Switch event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsrats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
The Salt Dogs are back with the best lineup for a night out in Lincoln, including Fireworks Fridays. Every weekend homestand at Haymarket Park begins with baseball and post-game fireworks set to your favorite music. Baseball, a big light show, and the best view in town? There's no better place to be on a summer night in Lincoln. Lead off your weekend the right way with Fireworks Fridays. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
Don't wait for the Lincoln fireworks stands to open up. Get the good stuff now at Roca Crazy Cracker in downtown Roca. Stop in through July 4th for the hotspot for rockets and more this Independence Day. Open 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Roca Crazy Cracker Fireworks in downtown Roca.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Sunny skies and warm temps expected here for our Tuesday, topping out near 88. Southwest winds will be a little breezy at 15 to 20. Overnight, mainly clear with a low dropping down to 66. Hot and windy tomorrow. South winds gusting over 30 with an afternoon high of 94. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side. Football season will be here before you know it, and you can get ahead of everyone else with the first annual Evening with the Huskers event at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill. Join 93.7 The Ticket and Husker Online's Sean Callahan for an evening with current Nebraska football players and surprise guests as they preview the season ahead. Enjoy cocktail hour and a delicious Wagyu steak dinner, as well as an open bar for the duration of the event, all for just $199 per person. Click the logo for the event at theticketfm.com to sign up. Don't delay, this will fill up fast. Don't miss your chance to meet and greet with Husker football players at Tanner's Bar and Grill and Tavern 180 in Lincoln at 30th and Yankee Hill. Sign up today at theticketfm.com using the Evening with the Huskers banner. It's an evening with the Huskers to preview the 2022 Nebraska football season at Tavern 180 and Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Presented by Husker Online and 93.7 The Ticket.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up things here on the block on a Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday, but we're glad to be back at full strength here on the block. It's been a kind of an eventful day, an interesting day. I don't if you heard that commercial, maybe you didn't, but I am really excited about this event we've got coming up here. An evening with the Huskers. Wanted to give you guys a little bit more of an idea of what's going on there. Monday, July 18th, from 6 to 9, we'll be at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill, and Tavern 180 is also joining in to help present this. But it's at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill. We'll have special guests Garrett Nelson, O'Shawn Mathis, Trey Palmer, as well as some other special surprise guests as well. Husker Online Sean Callahan will serve as the master of ceremonies. And it's just an evening with the Huskers. It's going to be a nice Wagyu steak dinner from Tavern 180. So that's pretty cool. Cocktail hour and appetizers will be served from 6 to 7. Then at 7 o'clock, dinner is served, and that's when you get the Wagyu steak. And then from 7:45 on, we'll hear from Huskers coaches and players taking questions, and sharing their thoughts on the upcoming season. Tickets are only $199 for this very cool event. I know that Strick, you and I plan to be there if we can get in.
Yeah, I don't know,
might
man.
be
We may
packed.
get it may be like a California club night. You get stuck on the outside looking in.
We'll at least be outside the building, so you can say hi to us there. So it's ultimately a big Husker get together previewing the upcoming season, and I'm pretty excited about it. I also, before the end of the show, I did want to get to this too. It's been a big day as far as NBA point guards, and mostly NBA point guards' head cases somewhat staying where they're at. Kyrie Irving, again, had some cryptic message about him thinking he's being a leader for some reason by staying with the Nets. Russell Westbrook opting in on his contract with the Lakers. And then the other one those things are just kind of sticking how they are. Unless there's a trade involved or something down the line, it feels somewhat hopeless. Feels like those teams are in purgatory with those guys. But the other news is that John Wall, who is far from his NBA best that he's been in his career, it's been a few years since he's had an all-star team or really been healthy enough to really make a run at it. He's been bought out, and the idea is that he might go join the Clippers. Is the thought there? Do you think that John Wall, at this point in his career, teaming up with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard can help Tron Lue and that group get over the edge.
I would think that it would eliminate the times that Paul George has to handle the ball. Like, he still would be able to be effective and good at what he does, but that can wear you out as you get older. I mean, just that continuous handling, and you saw what it did to even Giannis in his young leg at age. You know, when you get into the playoffs. I think if John Wall just continues to do what he do, open court, make and distribute, and just raise havoc on the offensive side and putting pressure to allow Paul George to be able to shoot the ball, to allow Kawhi to not have to take a lot of the pressure on the offense, to allow him to be post strong. But he's got to be able to knock down shots. So hopefully he's working, because that's not what his strong point was. He's very mid-range oriented. But if he's able to kind of work on his jumper, he's got some time off. I'm sure he had time to sit out there and stroke the ball.
He took this whole offseason off, or the whole season
his
off.
legs should be pretty good. I mean, other than the fact that, he's had injuries. And then when you've had that kind of hiatus, what are you going to return like? That's going to be the interesting part. But they're going to get him at a premium deal.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good thing as well, too, because he's still going to be getting that paper. So, I used to wish I could get a double-up deal like that, where you get bought out of your contract, and then all of a sudden you just go sign with somebody else and you double up. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, some other news in the NBA. The Jazz finally have their head coach. They're bringing Will Hardy off the bench in Boston. So I don't know not much about Will Hardy, but I mean, that's at least something to check off the checklist for the Jazz. And the Knicks is considered a strong favorite to land Jalen Brunson. Doesn't seem like a guy I'd build the team around, but the Knicks seem to be pretty bought in.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm building an organization around, but the Knicks are so in disarray, bro. They don't know which direction they want to go right now.
Yeah, that was the problem with their whole run a few years ago when they made the playoffs. It was still like yeah, it's a great up and coming tail, but who are you building around? Is it Julius Randle? I mean, that's solid, but that's not probably a number one guy for an annual playoff team.
And it showed,
and it happened.
Year.
Yeah, then you saw.
Well, I mean, because I'm telling you, scout reports catch up with you, my boy. They catch up with you.
Did you? Is that from experience? You got kind of frustrated at times playing the same coach over and over again?
Well, I mean, you just got to be able to come with something fresh. You got to make the adjustments. You know what the scouting report is going to say about you. You got to be able to work in that offseason to work on another counter for that.
Adjust to their adjustments.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, that'll wrap it up for On the Block today. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful evening. We'll be back. We'll see you.